In today's episode, if you won't help me, I'll just talk to my manager. Network printers need to be plugged into the network to print. An important switch. Technical issue. Escalating. I need you to come move the furniture. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. If you won't help me, I'll just talk to my manager. This story is one that happened to me last week and honestly still annoys me, and my other coworkers who were present for this call as well. Some backstory here before I introduce the cast. This adult called into the help desk a week or so before with some computer issues after being off on workers' comp for a whole year and a half. Recently, as we had seen an influx of calls of people coming back after an extended period of time, we instituted a new policy. If the user calling in has been out of work for more than 3 months, to just order them a new tablet. This is because of the sheer amount of work we would need to do get them back up and running was taking way too long, and we couldn't risk wasting time on it. So we ordered the guy a tablet after the call, where the new guy, bless his heart, spent 1 hour and 50 minutes on the phone trying to get him up and running. Remember that number, everyone, it'll be important for later on. With that small bit of background information out of the way, let's introduce the players this time around, shall we? Me, the hero of this anime and palmer of faces. User, this guy should probably have an actual adult with him at all times to make sure he doesn't hurt himself. T, the other tier 2 on my team and generally chill guy. Now on to the story. This story begins on a Friday, and it started out as a really great day, all things considered. Myself and T were watching the queue to make sure no calls were waiting while the tier I's were on other calls. A call comes in and it's my turn to take it. If only I knew how bad it was going to be. I answer the phone with my usual greeting. Me, thank you for calling the help desk, my name is Ian Thief. Can I have your employee ID? He gives me the employee ID, and I instantly recognize the name. Me, alright, I was able to pull up your account, how can I help you? User, yeah, I was off for a year and a half and need my tablet set up. My manager told me to call in once I had my IP address so you all can remote in and set up the tablet. Me, okay, normally we don't do all the setup work ourselves. We send a 15 to 16 page packet with each tablet sent out that walks the users through setting the tablet. User, well, I'm just doing what I was told, but I know the packet you're talking about. Me, okay, wonderful, what step are you stuck on? User, I'm signed in and have my IP address so you can remote in. Me, I understand that, sir, however I need to know what step you're on so I can help you. User, listen, I was off for a year and a half and don't know this new system. So because of that I was on the phone with someone for over 3 hours, and then he sent this tablet to me. Now my manager told me to get my IP address and call the help desk, so that's what I'm doing. Me, again, I understand that, sir, but to best help you I need to know what step you're on. User, are you saying you won't help me? 'Cause if so, I'll just reach out to my manager and we'll go from there. At this point it's more of the same. I assure him that I am trying to help him, and that I never said I wouldn't help him, and that I only needed to know what step he's on in the setup instructions. Then he hits me with this. User, I don't know what step I'm on, these instructions are so small and blurry I can't read them. Remember that bit of info, dear reader, we'll come back to it later. Me, alright sir, you said you have your IP address. How did you get to that point? User, I signed into the account. Me, what account? User, are you going to help me or not? Me, I never said I wasn't going to help, sir, I just need to make sure I have all the proper information so that I can best assist you. User, I signed into my account. Me, so you signed in with your username and password? User, username? Do you mean my employee ID? Me, yes sir, that is what I'm referring to. User, no, I didn't sign in with that, I signed in with this password. Proceeds to rattle off the local user account password that we use for setup. Me, confused, how did you get that password? I of course asked this because the password isn't very easy for a lot of users to remember. So he of course tells me. User, I read it in the instructions. Remember that bit of info I told you remember from before? Yeah, he claims that he can't read the instructions, but was able to get this username and password for the local account he's signed into. That by itself wouldn't be so bad if that information wasn't 7 whole pages deep into the instructions. I of course try to question this bit of info, and he tells me the same BS from above, and of course saying that if I won't help that he'll reach out to his manager. Now, by this point T has started listening in, and like me is actively getting frustrated in real time with me. Me, sir, I am trying to help you, I just want to make sure that I'm helping to the best of my ability. But I need to know what step you're on in the setup instructions. He reiterated the above point that it's blurry, and he can't see it even with a magnifying glass. He then of course offers to send us a picture of the instructions, so that we can see how bad they are too. Because myself and some others all take calls on speaker, T is able to chime in and provides him with a phone number to send the picture to. User, what's the number you gave me for? Me, oh, it's for you to send us a picture of the instructions, so we can see how blurry and hard to read they are. I don't think user expected us to call his bluff, cause he didn't seem very happy that we wanted a picture of the instructions. He of course reiterated the above, I'll just reach out to my manager since you don't want to help me, and at this point both T and I are ready to fight this guy and send him back on medical leave. But he told me to, and these are his words mind you, to hold his little baby hand and set up the Scotty computer for him. So I begrudgingly set up his computer for him and send him on his merry way. We were of course still waiting on that picture, but alas it never came. Either way, I hope you all enjoyed that story. There might be a part 2 soon as the tablet we sent him turned out to be defective out of the box, so we're sending him another new one. This time with instructions that have a larger font and are very crisp and easy to read. Network printers need to be plugged into the network to print. Alternate title, Stop Hitting S #T with Forklifts. I work in IT at a vaguely med/pharma related company. We have an IT department of 4. Currently, I'm the only one on site while the other 3 are WFH, because of the Rona. We have 2 buildings with full warehouses/production areas. Most of the office staff, including me, are located at the one main building. My first week, we got a request from someone who decided to save my number that she didn't think one of the printers was working. Of course, said printer is in the other building. It was nice out, so I didn't mind walking the half-mile over there. When I found the printer, the Ethernet was unplugged from the back of it. I plugged it back in and verified with our senior IT guy that the IP was right and everything was working. Gucci. A month later, a different user, fired warehouse guy, he has another story later, between this story and his firing, sent in a ticket that the same printer wasn't working. I head over. This time it wasn't just unplugged, the RJ45 connector was totally destroyed. Guess who didn't plan ahead and came without any spare cables? I head back to the IT office and grab a replacement cable, go back to the printer. Huh. Weird. The printer itself actually doesn't allow for the clip to do anything. That might explain why it was unplugged the first time, and how it could have gotten broken this time. I tried both ends of the cable in both the wall and the printer to confirm this. The clips click into the wall, do nothing on the printer. What a stupid design. A couple weeks later, FWHG puts in another ticket that it had been working before but wasn't now. At this point I'm irked and I tell senior IT that it was unplugged the last 2 times. He laughs and responds to FWHG's ticket to make sure it's plugged in. Crickets for a full day. Next day senior IT apologizes to me and asks if I can go over and check that it's plugged in. I go. It wasn't. I plugged it back in. Not long later, another ticket from FWHG. Printer's not working. I'm ready to strangle someone. I head over there, veins full of fury, and find that the entire desk, desktop, monitor, printer, has been moved about 30 feet over to the next column in the warehouse. They plugged everything into the Ethernet ports that had been installed by our network contractor. Those guys punched it into the patch panel, but left it one step short of actually plugging it into the switch in the same IDF cabinet. Naturally. So I grabbed the scissor lift, our IDFs are at the ceiling, patch the port, verify connectivity, and tell senior IT all this. He responds with something vague about problems with forklifts, so I check FWHG's ticket history. 5 months before I started, a ticket request for installation of those new network ports. Boss, only one who can approve expenditures, answers asking why they need it since the network contractors we use kind of S**CK, and it's expensive to run unnecessary cables. FWHG answers it's become a safety issue with the desk in its current location. EHS manager said it needs to be moved. I asked around and got the gossip. The forklift operators kept running into the desk, knocking the Ethernet loose from the back of the printer. Eventually, someone hit a person who was using the computer, at which point it was finally decided that moving the desk was a good idea. A lower-level supervisor had quit recently because he hated his boss, FWHG. We think he was the one who would plug the printer back in when he needed to use it. An important switch. I recently got a position as IT/logistics coordinator for a higher-end retail plaza. It's some weird overlap, but there isn't much of either side to be a full workload, so whatever. What's important here is that until recently my office served as both mail and server rooms. Should also mention that I have no degree or relevant certifications, just have done electronic repair for a couple years. Our server rack was already a clustered mess due to lazy fixes over the years, but it didn't run into issues very often. It's old and I have no power when it comes to the money side of things. But a few weeks ago, our head administrator decided they wanted the server moved to the other side of a wall and out of my office. I'm happy for the space, and it's allowed for some much needed upgrades. Everything was fine for a couple days after the move, until one Wednesday morning we come into our network being down. Server seemed to have rebooted itself around 7:45 a.m. and wasn't fully up and running yet. My boss and I do some digging, and it looks like some automatic updates that shouldn't be happening are the cause. No problem. Make sure those are off and get on with our day. Then it happens the next day and the day after. No idea, can't figure it out. Call for some assistance from our sister company as they're the ones that actually did the move, but they're clueless as well. It's Friday. Deal with it on Monday. Rock up on Monday morning, and lo and behold, the network is up. No reboots in sight. There is now tape over a light switch though. Yep, the power for that entire room is controlled by a single switch that security was flipping every night. The backups were holding out until just before I clocked in the following morning. There aren't enough brain cells in the building. Technical issue. Escalating. I work remotely as a senior help desk tech for a huge medical company that's worldwide. I'm more or less Tier 3 support. I'm the guy they call when the on-site systems analyst can't figure it out. Today I received a ticket in my queue that was escalated twice. It stated that the user cannot launch an application with error message attached. I decided to take a look since I was just waiting for some Synology backups to finish anyway. The ticket comes with a message from the end user that reads, "I cannot connect to application that requires Internet Explorer." When I'm accessing it with Internet Explorer, I am getting the message below. Hey, at least the end user knows that this particular applications does, in fact, require IE to function. The note from T1 helpdesk says not sure what's going on. Escalating, and the note from Tier 2 says, technical issue. Escalating. This is normal when you have an application level issue that isn't fixed by a simple reinstall or something. But that message below read as follows. In order to access this application, you must install the J2SE plugin version 1.6.0_27. To install this plugin, click here to download the oj2se.exe executable. Once the download is complete, double-click the oj2se.exe file to install the plugin. You will be prompted to restart your browser when the installation is complete. I copied this text word for word and sent it back to Tier 2 with the URL included. About 30 minutes later I get a message, "That worked. Thanks." Yeah, if only there was some indication of what to do in this particular situation, right? I found out a little bit after this that the end user has an A+ certification. I need you to come move the furniture. I work as a field tech for a company with many small offices. Usually a server and 10 to 15 workstations, everything pretty standard. Had an office get remodeled. Normally they're pretty strict about not dispatching me out unless I have a ticket, but due to remodel we were pretty lenient knowing there might be a few minor issues after everything was set back up. This leads to the office manager emailing me the following chain. Office manager, some of the desks were not put back in their correct spot, please come out and move to the correct location. Me, I apologize, but you will need to talk to operations about that. Due to office remodel, floor plans have changed. All tech was set up according to the floor plan I received. Office manager, the floor plan is correct, I just don't like the way the desks are facing. After that I just forwarded her emails to my boss and the operations manager and said politely moving desks is not my job. Cut to a month later, I am now CC in an email chain with my boss, ops boss, our area manager, and the region head from this woman saying tech continuously ignored her requests after remodel and never came out after she was having issue.